Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Inshallah, you guys had a very, very memorous spiritual last couple of days commemorating the death of Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali alayhi salam, and also participating in the Amal of Laylatul Qadr. Inshallah, you remembered us in your dua, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept all your dua and your hajat, inshallah. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you this evening, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah wa taqabbalallah a'malakum and your a'mal.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Hassan, how was your Laylatul Qadr? Everything was good?
All great, alhamdulillah.
Fantastic. Sheikhna, a lot of our brothers and sisters would have been commemorating the death of Imam Ali alayhi salam over the last couple of days. Inshallah, there was loads of programs. If not, unfortunately, because of the climate, there was none in the mosques in the Husayniyah, but inshallah, there was plenty of programs available online. My first question is it true that Imam Ali was actually buried in Masjid al-Kufa, where he was struck on the head, considering it was so close to his house as well, rather than Najaf? And is there any evidence for this?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. The grave of the Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam is in Najaf, where in the famous location today we all visit, alhamdulillah. The Mu'mineen, the believers around the world, they come and visit and pay tributes and respects to this holy shrine and pray there and ask Allah Azza wa Jalla for their hawa'ij. Of course, the Imam's grave was hidden since the Imam was struck on his head in Masjid al-Kufa, and then his body was taken and secretly buried away from the eyes of the people, because the Khawarij were looking for the Imam's body to bring out. The Khawarij, they wanted to actually bring out the jasad from the grave. So they concealed the grave of the Imam for about 80-90 years, until the Abbasi the Caliphate came, and in that time in which the grave was discovered and gradually built, and people start to visit the Imam alayhi salam. But in terms of the grave, no, it is in Najaf al-Ashraf. It is there, the famous location, and the evidence is the recurrence, the tawatur, the books of the history, the narrations. We've seen ulama going there and visit the grave. Then the Hawza of Najaf was there next to the Imam alayhi salam to give the blessings and knowledge. Ulama, maraji, great scholars, they've been living next to the Imam, visiting the Imam every day, the students of the seminaries and so forth. There's no doubt at all. If somebody has a doubt about the grave of the Imam alayhi salam in Najaf, then should have the same doubt about if Kaaba being in Mecca, in which the logic and the aql won't accept such a scenario.
Yeah, so I think it's with the investigation and unanimous investigations and the conclusions from our ulama and history that this is definitely the place of the burial of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Sheikhna, not that we encourage people to do this, but like with tattoos, some people would like to get tattoos of the name of Imam Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, and so forth. According to Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani, what is the ruling on having these tattoos on the body?
The Sayyid clearly mentions that there is no proven mustahab behind this act, that the one writes on his body with a tattoo, for example, and so forth. There's no mustahab with this regard. Rather, he would say that the one should follow the footsteps of the Imam alayhi salam, as mentioned in God-fearing, in wara', in taqwa, in struggle, in jihad, in chastity, in iffah, in rightness, the haqq, and so forth. And also that our association with the Imam be graceful and not disgraceful. Zayn wala shayn. That's important, that we show the good image instead of just drawings and so forth, which is in overall using art is fine, but for the body and tattoo, this is something that is not really recommended.
I see. Sheikhna, just a quick reminder to all the viewers, that this is a live show. We do take in your questions. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask myself or the Sheikh, you can contact us via the WhatsApp or also the email. Or alternatively, you can call us. The number should be over there somewhere, inshallah. And you can call us and we'll be more than happy to discuss your question on Ahkam. Sheikh, a question came in from the WhatsApp and it's in regards to an individual who has a barber. If I just get the WhatsApp out, 1 second. And it is, I go to a barber who is an Alawi believer. They consider Imam Ali as God. What to do in terms of purity and tahara since they have this belief, but they do not manifest it in public? I'm a muqallid of Sheikh Ayatollah Isaq al-Fiyad.
The Sheikh mentions that whosoever believes in the divinity of the Imam Ali alayhi salam, that he is God or part of God, for example, na'udhu billah, then he is impure and najis.
Okay.
Because we don't have this belief at all. And of course, the non-Shia, the Wahhabis and others, Salafis, they would accuse us that we worship our A'imma. When we go to the shrines, we prostrate, the Qibla is towards the shrine of the Imam alayhi salam and not towards the Kaaba. So these accusations are all batil and void. And as I've said, this is one of our ulama who says that, who believes in the divinity of the Imam or Ahl Bayt alayhi salam, he is najis. So we have to be careful, of course.
On that note, Sheikhna, I believe Ayatollah Sayyid Mudarsi has a hadith, or he has an opinion, because there is a lot of us, well, it is actually the Shia default that Imam Ali is greater than a lot of the prophets. Peace and blessings be upon all the prophets and also on Imam Ali. So Ayatollah Mudarsi has this hadith in regards to that, or he's got some evidence. Can you please shed a bit of light on it?
Basically, one of our aqaid and belief that Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are greater than the prophets of Allah except Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Ahlul Bayt, and on top of them, Imam Ali alayhi salam he's greater than Adam, Musa, Isa, Ibrahim, Noah, and so forth. So he is greater, he's the best of the creation after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Yes.
Muhammad bin Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's the best. And then it comes Imam Ali alayhi salam and the rest of the Ma'sumin salamullah alayhim. Ayatollah Mudarsi mentions a hadith, he narrates a hadith from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. He mentions and he says that Inna Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, this is the hadith of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, Inna Allah tabarak wa ta'ala akhadha mithaq an-nabiyyin ala wilayat Ali alayhi salam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the pledge from the prophets in the wilayah of Ali alayhi salam. So a prophet, to be a prophet, he needs to submit to the wilayah of Imam Ali alayhi salam.
So they were all Shia?
Of course, they're the best of the Shia. One of the best of the Shia as well.
Ahsan.
وأخذ عهد النبيين بولاية علي عليه السلام, and he took the oath from the prophets عليهم السلام in the wilayah of Ali alayhi salam. So pledge an oath to give to the wilayah and submit to the wilayah of Ali salamullah alayhi. Of course, this is the greatness of the Imam alayhi salam, that the prophets had to give their submission to the wilayah of the Imam alayhi salam.
Fantastic. I mean, that's the biggest proof there that, in fact, they were giving bay'ah and they were accepting the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Shows the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen being greater than the prophets, except for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Excellent. Sheikh, I mean, we could talk about Imam Ali for the whole show and touch on different characteristics and attributes on his life. But one point of his life I'd like to focus on is how he dealt with opposition and how he dealt with his opponents at the time. So during his reign, how was Imam Ali, what was his position in respect to his opponents during the 4 years as the Khalif?
Well, the Imam alayhi salam treated them with justice and beneficence. The Imam alayhi salam did not take revenge from those who betrayed him, and they came and waged war against him, salam alayhi. They came in the battles of Jamal, Nahrawan, and Siffin to kill the intention was to kill the Imam alayhi salam, to destroy the Imam alayhi salam. But in response, when the Imam took over, and of course the Imam did not take revenge from them, he didn't imprison them, or suppress them or torture them, na'udhu billah, at all. Imam alayhi salam manifested the best examples of Islam and the akhlaq of Islam and the Quran and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Not at all. Even the Bayt al-Mal was given to them. Imagine that the Bayt al-Mal was also as a portion given to those who were the opponents of the Imam alayhi salam. To this extent, he didn't cut and stopped their payments. So the Imam alayhi salam, of course, he was the best example of a leader that today's leaders in the world, they have to learn from the Imam alayhi salam how to lead, especially the Muslim leaders,
Yes.
to learn how to follow the footsteps of the Imam alayhi salam in order to spread justice and fairness and adl between the people, and to save this humanity from this downfall and poverty and suppression. Is to go back to see how Imam Ali alayhi salam in this 4.5 years, less or more, how he established and implemented the true justice of Allah on earth.
Ahsant. Sheikh, if someone has another that I'm going to, hold a majlis for Amir al-Mu'mineen, or I'm going to give niyaz tabarruk during, one of the programs of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then he doesn't do it for any reason, maybe because of Corona and lockdown, maybe because he couldn't afford it at the time, and so forth. What is that individual to do in terms of that? He's got the money now. Does he wait for next year and give double, or can he give it at another time? So, you know what? I couldn't do it on the birthday of Imam Ali. Let me wait, a couple of weeks or so, and then I'll hold another event for Amir al-Mu'mineen and in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen and give out and complete my nadhr. Then, what is the individual to do?
I mean, he can or she can basically spend it on any occasion or any program with the intention of the Imam Ali alayhi salam's majlis or birthday and so forth, or to wait the next coming next year's, let's say, is it commemoration or the birthday, and to basically implement his nadhr in that time. So both will work.
Excellent. Sheikhna, with Imam Ali, we have narrations of the Mus'haf of Imam Ali or the Quran of Imam Ali. Now, is there a difference between the Holy Quran that we have today, which is known as the Mus'haf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Messenger Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Is there a difference between that and the Mus'haf of Imam Ali, or is it the same thing? Or what are these narrations about of the Mus'haf of Imam Ali?
Basically, the Quran that we have and we recite, it was compiled in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the Quran in which we believe in it. The Imam alayhi salam, he basically compiled the tafsir and the ta'wil, the exegesis and the interpretation of the Quran. So it's a more broadened book in terms of the details. There are information inside it, for example, what is going to happen in the future, for example. Ma sayakun, in future. So more knowledge was attached, but beside the Holy Quran. It's like similar to the books of tafsir we have today, for example. But this is written by the Imam alayhi salam himself. So the same Quran is there that we recite today, but the Imam made as I said, the tafsir and the ta'wil of these holy verses, in which sadly, when he brought the book outside to show to the Muslims, they rejected this book. And the book, of course, was taken back with the Imam alayhi salam. So the Mus'haf Ali alayhi salam, of course, it's a tafsir and ta'wil book, as I've mentioned. And the Quran is the same Quran as we believe in, and with no difference, of course.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Inshallah, one day we'll get access to the Mus'haf of Imam Ali, inshallah. Sheikh, some people accuse the Shia that we believe in a Quran that has been altered or has been changed. Can you please clarify our belief, and can you please clarify this notion?
The Shia and overall and the ulama unanimous that it has not been changed, the Quran, in terms of corruption, tahrif, or alteration, or addition or subtraction from the Quran has not been done at all. We believe that this Quran was revealed on the Prophet ﷺ as it is, as we read it now today. No change to the Quran, the same wordings, Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, and so forth. The problem is with the other side who believes that in their books that some of the ayat were, destroyed. There was, some surah were even bigger than Baqarah. Imagine, Surah Al-Baqarah. So they have all these narrations. I don't know where they brought it from. That addition, even they have, let's say, extra verses in the Quran that been removed and taken away. But where is the evidence? We can't rely on their hadiths. Many of their hadiths are corrupt and have there's no honesty in terms of delivering the hadith. So of course we believe in the Quran as it revealed on the Prophet ﷺ, as I read today, between the Muslims and between the people of the belief of Aqidah. This is the Quran. There's evidence from the reason and from traditions as well.
Hassan. Shaykhna, we sometimes see Quran on top of fabrics and also on shrouds as well. They put it on top of graves. They put it on top of the dead bodies as well. According to Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani, is this acceptable to put shrouds with Quran and dua on them on top of dead bodies?
He says yes, it is permissible to cover the body with the shroud written on it, the Holy Quran, and even we have also they write on it Dua Jawshan Kabir as well on the kafan. But he says that you have to make sure that no najasa and impurities would reach on these verses, the lines of the verses of the Holy Quran. Make sure. So he would recommend that to place or to write them on the top part of the top sides of the kafan, next to the head, for example, or up to the head, just to avoid any kind of najasa being contaminating or cross contamination with the holy verses from the body of the mayyit. He would also recommend that it's permissible to write on a piece of cloth or a fabric, let's say the ayah Quraniyah, and attach it on the head of the mayyit. That could be also a possibility.
I see. Excellent. Shaykhna, when it comes to the Quran, there are plenty of stories about the different prophets and even stories that we are not familiar with in terms of other religions. Don't really discuss these stories. Are these stories real accounts of what has happened in the past, or are they just stories to help Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon all of them, in teaching us the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the deen?
Yes, these are Allah's words, Allah's commands in the Holy Quran. We cannot say that Allah Azza wa Jal, He can't, read stories from the history. He is the creator of the history of the time of this world. Allah Azza wa Jal, He knows everything about what happened in the past. Of course, the stories of the Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Talut and Jalut, and other stories in the Quran, they're all true and sahih and correct, and they took place. The Musa alayhi salam's crossing the sea with the miracle of the stick and so forth. They're all true stories. Nobody can deny that. We have history books, and even the Aql itself, the role of the reason would submit to the fact that Allah is able. If He's able to create the mankind from nothing, how can He can't, for example, narrate to us or bring us stories from the past generations and ancient stories? No, of course, these are true stories. But for the one to learn lessons from these stories, for the tyrants today, for the leaders today, for the people today to learn from the past tyrants and the stories of the kings and the people who lived thousands of years ago, that we learn stories from those nations past who were destroyed and punished due to their disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. That we have to fear God and obey Him and implement His commands as long as we live in this world.
Sheikh, a question from the WhatsApp, is to do that. I am a parent, and is it mandatory upon myself for my daughter when she completes her 9 years to make her wear hijab? Or can I leave her until she's convinced and wears the hijab voluntarily?
In terms of commanding our children who reach the age of puberty and adolescence, it becomes a wajib on us to inform them that, the hijab, the salah, the fast, everything becomes wajib, as it is wajib for an adult. They are mukallaf now. They have the taklif in which they have to fulfill these obligations. The Holy Quran states, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا, ward off from yourselves and your family a fire. So we have to refrain ourselves from the haram and implement the wajib, and also apply this to our family and close ones. So we have to, as a mandatory and wajib, to inform them that you have to perform the salah, the sawm, and hijab, and so forth. Also, there's a narration which says from the Imam Ali that the habit of doing good deed is achieved through practice. So we have to give it time. Practice from early age, as I've said before, a long time ago, in the Ahkam show programs, that we have to teach our children the hijab, the salah, the fast from early ages, 5, 6, 7, give them, gifts and promote whatever is required for them to, encourage them to be able to learn these Ahkam Allah Azza wa Jal from early childhood, so they won't be shocked when they reach the age of adolescence. They have the training given, for example, they have, seen the beauty of fasting, the beauty of hijab, the beauty of salah. So when they reach that age, they're convinced, and they would themselves go for these ahkam instead of us just encouraging them and pushing them.
That's it. Shaykh, we're coming to the end of the show, so I have one more question left for yourself, and that is, what are the Sharia criteria required for women's hijab in Islam?
The criteria is that the entire woman's body should be covered with a wide garment or clothes, not tight ones, which shows the curves of the body or the shape of the body. It has to be enough wide, so it wouldn't really touch or stick to the body. Exactly, yes. And also with regard to the face and the hands, they can be shown, and that's fine. There's no issue with it, but the rest of the body should be covered, and there should be no adornments and zina on the face, or even in terms of the clothing. There shouldn't be attracting and eye-catching clothing. So yes, a believer, a woman who is a mu'minah, should observe the hijab very well. That basically pleases Allah Azza wa Jal, and of course, inshallah, she will be rewarded in the hereafter for this observation of hijab, inshallah.
Inshallah. Shaykhana, thank you so much for your time and for your effort. Inshallah, we'll be back tomorrow with new questions and a new discussion. Thank you for your time, and thanks for all of you for joining us. Inshallah, join us again tomorrow at 6:30 here on Imam Hussein TV 3. Remember us in your du'as in this final week that we have of Ramadan, and inshallah, Eid will be coming soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.